I know everyone can hear us, so won't you just go ahead and start talking, Aaron?
Welcome to the May, or is it May already? May rally? While he is trying to get everything up and running with the camera, we are going to see who is listening to us. We're going to see, let's see, where are you guys coming from? Got some technical difficulties here. All right. Let's see.
I know what's going on. Hang on.
Oh, Evan's figured it out.
I think I figured it out. I need to hide that. There we go. Look at us.
There we
Look
are.
at us.
Welcome to the May rally, you guys. We've got it up and running. We are super excited to be spending the next hour with you guys. I'm Erin. If you have not met me before, I'm Evan's wife. Or I should say Evan's wife this way. And I am just really excited to be on the call with you guys. Where are you guys streaming in from, and can you hear us?
Yeah, because if you were part of the April rally, we had technical difficulties on the mic, and then I had to swallow my pride later because it was my fault. So put in the chat if you can hear us, because that will lower my anxiety moving forward.
Yes.
So let's jump into 3 ways to boost your profit. So Aaron's going to lead the charge in this, and I will be in the chat room. So if you have any questions, you can put it in the chat. If you're watching from Facebook or YouTube, you can comment below, and we want this to serve you well. So if you have a question, send it in. We'll put it up on the screen, and we would love to dissect this in the next hour. We'll probably end before 1 p.m. Eastern. So Aaron, take it away. Let's talk about profit.
I love it. Thank you so much for letting me come hang out with your crew today. So it's really super exciting. So before we move forward, I really want to kind of grasp one particular concept. And if you are watching this, you're probably either a salon owner, salon leader, or someone in the industry that maybe wants to own their own salon, possibly, who knows? But we've got kind of a crowd of leaders on the call today. And the biggest concept that we want you to understand is it's your responsibility to bring profit into your company. It is completely your responsibility. And so that piece of understanding brings a certain amount of accountability. It brings a certain amount of responsibility to the table when you understand that everything that you don't like in your company, everything you do like in your company, the amount of profit that comes into the company, it is up to you. So that's the number one concept that we want you to understand. So at the end of the day, let's talk about profit. Whenever we talk about profit, the first thing that really comes to mind is cash flow. So when we talk about cash flow and what does cash flow then mean? Cash flow is your ability to move quickly in your business. And without cash flow, you don't have a business. So it's kind of like the blood in our bodies. If you don't have blood, you're dead. Same thing with cash flow and a business. If you don't have cash flow, then you don't have a business. So that's why a lot of multi-million-dollar companies, they are open and they might be doing millions and millions of dollars, but at the end of the day, they don't have the sustainability of cash flow to keep things moving, and so they don't stay open. Evan, what you got?
Well, yeah, because we need to focus what she said on cash flow, because it doesn't really matter how much money you make per year, like how much cash flow do you have? You study any business 101, very, very simple. They're going to tell you cash flow is king. So with cash flow, you got to make sure you have cash flow. Again, it's blood in your body. And if you're wondering what is cash flow, or how do I get cash flow? How do I know? Comment below, comment refine, and we will reach out to you, because that is something that if you do not know cash flow, you do not know your financials, it's going to be really, really hard for you to scale your business and impact more people, which is probably why you started your own business, because you wanted to impact people. You want to impact the employees, the staff people in your company, and also your community as well.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. I think Kevin O'Leary from Shark Tank, he talks about cash flow, and that's all he cares about. He doesn't care about anything else other than cash flow. And so I feel like he's a pretty well-known name in the Shark Tank world. And very much it's interesting. I just listened to a podcast with him recently, and he was talking about how he used to be an owner and operator, and now he's an investor. And he only invests in companies that have cash flow. So moving on. So whenever we think about a business, and a business on paper is sales, margins, and profits. So sales are obviously your top dollar. Sales are not even the most important thing. We could talk about that on a marketing rally. But if you don't have anybody that knows who you are, then how are you ever going to have sales? So sales make up a business, and then also your margins or your expenses. And then once you subtract sales and you subtract the expenses from your sales, then you've got what's left over, which is going to be your profit. So a lot of people, they think about it in that order. So sales, expenses, and profit. But what I'd really challenge you guys to look at is the opposite. So let's think about our profit and what do we want to make profit-wise, and let's work backwards. So, okay, we've got this amount of profit, and then we've got this amount of expenses. So how much do we need to do in sales? So it's almost like flipping the script just a little bit and thinking about your business a little bit different. The next thing is just understanding your P&L. Your P&L is the lifeblood to the financial health of your business. That right there is just, you got to understand it. You got to visit it, whether you're doing it yourself or you've got a really trusted bookkeeper that's also doing it, or your CPA. But your profit and loss, you have got to understand that. It is essential to understand where your business is at a weekly basis, at a monthly basis, a yearly basis. And then once you've been in business, you want to see your year-to-year trend, and you want to see that up and to the right.
Hey, I've got a question.
Yeah.
When you first started in 2012, a lot of people, you might not know this, but I wasn't super involved in the salon until 2018. When you started out in 2012, did you know how to read a profit and loss statement?
No. And I will say that you have got to surround yourself with people that know what they're doing. Like that, for me, I'm very teachable. I want to understand. I want to learn. I want to grow, all the things, but it's really hard for me to understand if it's not being taught to me. Now, some of you guys are a little different. Maybe you lean on YouTube a good bit to learn on how to read a P&L. Some of you guys are going to hire a coach. We can definitely help with that, but there's so many different ways to learn. But at the end of the day, you got to understand your profit and loss sheet. You got to be a freak in the sheets. Sorry, Evan, I'm telling you that joke. But you got to be you have to understand your spreadsheets, right? You have to understand that. That is key. If you don't like spreadsheets and you don't like numbers, it's okay, but you've got to surround yourself with people that do. So, cool. What you got? Anything to add?
Well, one thing with the cost, sales, and margin, all of that is to make a profit. That's why we start a company.
Yeah.
And Aaron's going to talk about in just a second, how does the team take this when you start talking about profit? Because everybody wants to work for a company that's profitable.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you don't have profit, then you're not going to sustain very long. You basically own a job at that point. Yep. So you've got to have profit, and so we're gonna dive into how to boost that profit, but we want to explain what profit is, what cash flow is, what are margins and everything. And so one of the things that that I want to talk about is profit sales versus sales. And so a lot of times we get caught up on the sales. And I walk into a lot of salons, and they will start running the numbers, And I'm like, how are you doing this? Like, we need to do an increase on service sales. We need to do an increase on service sales so we can gain more profit, because right now we probably are just breaking even. And so, Aaron, we're kind of going off the cuff here. I would love for you to share something you've learned recently on like pricing color, and how there's a whole lot of different factors into that. I know I'm putting you on the spot, but you don't have to go in depth, but just talk about something that we're looking at from a 30,000 foot view.
Absolutely. So definitely a lot of us, we think about pricing our services based on demographics. And instead, we've got to price our services based on profit and profitability. So profitability, that's going to be anything from how much does a pair of gloves cost? How much does every gram in the tube of color cost? That is a whole different way to think through what your pricing is, that a lot of us as creatives, we haven't really thought much about. We don't know how much color is being washed down the drain. We don't know how much color it actually costs to do a glaze and let it be profitable in the company. So it's really kind of like thinking through like all of the different services that you offer and making sure that your top 10, your top 20 are for sure making profit for the company. So a lot of us, we don't know that. We don't know it without a doubt, without any kind of certainty. We just don't know because we've never ran the numbers. Now, I do know that Christopher, that is Evan's business partner, he has literally a genius brain when it comes to that. And so he's built out this beautiful break-even analysis, and he can break down the cost of color and the cost of gloves and all that and help you create a new pricing structure in your company. But it's more than just what the next salon down the street charges, for sure.
So now let's talk about sales. Let's dive in the comments, put in sales if you've ever heard this in your salon company. Well, I just don't want to be salesy. I don't want to push. I don't want to be salesy. Put in sales in the comment box if you've ever heard that before. Aaron, have we heard that before?
100%.
Yes.
And it's the funniest thing I hear. And I think about it like, I don't know. I'm like, we are salesmen, whether we want to be or not. We're creative in our industry, but at the end of the day, as creative as you are, you have to sell yourself in order to convince someone else to come spend money in your chair as a stylist. Same thing when it comes to selling I'm thinking about like salon ownership. How are we selling our salon to make people want to join in with what we're doing as staff members? How can we let someone know why is it important to support the local salon over purchasing products from the drugstore? So that we are in sales, whether we want to be or not, it just is par for the course. That is golf joke? Yeah.
I don't think so.
I don't know.
It is now. You look at the other salons, there's probably salons that you look up to, and you're like, oh my gosh, they're so large. They figured out sales. I guarantee you, they have taught their staff, they have trained their staff on how to sell with role playing, with retail, which we'll get to in just a bit, how to communicate. Because when we hear sales, we think car salesman. We think pushy. We think, oh, like they're going to pull one over on us. And it's not that. And one of the things is selling is helping. How many of y'all have scrolled on Instagram and you see something? And so I've had a knot in my neck for like almost a week. It's actually feel pretty good right now. But my phone hears me talk about it. It hears my problems. And now when I scroll through Instagram, guess what I get? I get how to stretch. Here's this device that will get that knot out. And I'm like, I've already bought all this stuff. But what it's doing is it's helping us as customers. So selling is helping.
Yeah, I think about this quote that we actually have it in our bathroom at the salon. and it's in this like beautiful like black rim frame. And what it says is, instead of focusing on being successful, focus on being helpful. And at the end of the day, I mean, this is just something in a way to like coach our teams, is we're not selling ice to an Eskimo. They don't need ice, right? Our job is to help them recreate what we've done in the salon at home. So educate and recreate. So at the end of the day, if you do education in order to benefit your guest or your team, then it is just part of a great guest experience. And that's the part that we just have to kind of like mentally break through with our stylists, because it feels kind of icky. Selling feels icky a lot of times, but at the end of the day, selling is helping for sure. So let's think about the 3 ways to boost profit. If you guys see me looking over, I'm looking at some of our notes. But the first way is with retail. And again, let's break that down. So retail is cash flow. It is just the magic that makes things happen in the salon. Obviously, we have our services, but if you guys have been around the salon world for a while, it's about 3 cents on every dollar is profit with a service, and about $3 on every product sold is profit. So when we look at both of those 2 options, we definitely can understand that retail is a very vital, important piece of the puzzle from a profit standpoint. But not only is it important from profit standpoint, is it really, really important to create retention within your guest count. So when we think about retail, they've just gotten a service and then they're purchasing retail to support it at home. When they're supporting their hair at home, then they're more likely to rebook with you 3, 4, 5, maybe even for a lifetime. And retention is a massive component, that reoccurring income, that's a massive component of profit. What you got, Evan?
Well, we're recording this at our salon, and it never fails that we always have, even when we're closed, we have people drive up. So had to step out for a minute. Have you already dove into the top 3 ways?
We were just going through retail, and I went ahead and spoke to every product is $3 in profit on average, and every service for every dollar is 3 cents. So just talking about like the guest retention and how important and vital that is to the actual profit of the company. When we have reoccurring guests, isn't it? It takes 3 times for someone to visit your company before they're actually a guest of your salon, a permanent guest.
Yeah, retail is vital, and I don't know if you've already done this. We're just gonna jump in because I had to step out for a second.
Yeah, you're great.
So the top 3 ways to boost your profit, number 1 is retail, just like Aaron said. And there's we've all heard it. We've all heard the noise that products in retail are costing you. It's not true. It's not. I could drive you down to salon in Atlanta that a friend of mine owns, and they do close to $1 million. They might have done over $1 million in product. You know what that does for their team? A lot. They can provide health care. They can do 401k match. They can do all these different things. And here's the thing. We're in our salon right now. So, this product right here, it's going to show up every day. It's not going to call in sick. It's not going to be late because it's always here. So it's something that's always going to be there. And Aaron has changed a few things in our company with marketing and how we can market this, not so the guest comes in and this is the only time they see it, but they actually see it when they are at home. So Aaron, talk a little bit about what we've done recently with Forrest and Forrest the software, and how we are marketing products while people are sitting on their couch.
Well, and that was, so with the kind of a rise of, Ulta and Sephora and Amazon, all the things, I guess there's a lot of kind of like noise right now that, like Evan was saying, that we shouldn't be carrying this much product in a physical location. And at the end of the day, it's really, really important to understand that this product is very, very profitable in the company, right? We've already talked about how much money you make on average for product, right? So it's important. It's also important because we are building that trust and that loyalty with our guests so that they understand that it's important for them to take care of their hair. So whenever we've got all these kind of outside marketing channels like Ulta and Amazon and Sephora that are massive, they are out there getting their name and their advertisements in front of where their guests and their clients and their customers are, which is social media, which is Google, which is online presence. So for us as a company, we could just sit back and say, you know what? Oh, they're going to go to Ulta anyway, or they're going to go to Sephora or whatever. Well, that's us not doing our job in the local salon. It is our job to educate and help them recreate their look at home and by recommending products. So how we compete with that, and I say we compete because even though we are a very, very small company, we can still compete within the local, with our community of clients that we have their contact information, right? So we can go in, we could create Facebook ads, we can create social media or Instagram ads, Insta story ads. And what we typically will do is we'll put that ad out there. So say we've got, currently we've got our keratin healing products on sale. So right now we have an ad that's going out daily and it's reaching our existing clients day in and day out. And they're seeing our logo attached with it. And then also when they come in, they're also seeing the exact same ad displayed on our shelves. So when I think about marketing, obviously the location, so social media, but then the other piece of it is that it is the same. It looks almost identical to this, so that when they see it on social media and then they see it in the salon, it makes sense and they're connecting the pieces. That's called image marketing. And way back in the day, it was only 7 times that a future or a potential client needed to see your stuff in order to make a purchase. I don't know what it is currently. I've heard lots of different numbers, but it's got to be high. I think the last one that I heard was 32 times for them to see that ad before they're going to consider purchasing, right? So whenever we think about that, it's important to get in front of your clients wherever they are. So it's going to be on their phone, on social media, online presence, all of that. So,
all right, we got a question in. What do you recommend as the markup for retail? Should be more than 100%?
Well, I would say I would go with the manufacturer retail suggested pricing. So, I mean, Evan, have you gotten that question before?
I have not.
Yeah.
We work with Lonza exclusively. We carry their hair care brand, and where they do certain things to help the salon. So they do sell on Amazon. They're in the big box stores, which I get. Like they're wanting to sell their product. And with that, it is marked up higher on the Amazon, on the online, and in the big box stores. So it helps us. Again, a couple of dollars is, the big box stores don't scare me personally because we already got people coming into the salon. They're coming in and we have them here. But what we've got to do, which goes to our next point on retail, is we've got to educate our teams. If we just get in front of a meeting once a month, once a quarter, and say, hey, we need to sell retail. Or if you do one-on-ones in your company and you're like, hey, we need to boost your retail. We need to get it up because then you can get a promotion. That's the only times we've talked about retail, we've lost.
Right.
We've got to educate our team. First off, it comes from a solution or a solution base, because people are coming in with a problem. Their hair is dry, their hair is thinning, their hair, they want volume, whatever it is, they're coming in with a problem. They're telling us. And so what we've got to do is we got to deliver the solution. If we don't deliver the solution, they're going to go somewhere else. So on the big box stores, the Ultas and the Sephoras, they know they're solution driven because people are going there. They're going there for, they've got skincare, makeup, hair. They've realized we're in the beauty industry and we're going to deliver. Us on the salon level, we've got to deliver. And a lot of people have fear mindset when it comes to retail. And so we just got to educate them. It's a very simple process, but we got to take those fears and throw them out. And we have someone on our team, her retail sales were low. We tried one thing and it started to scale up. And then it kind of slumped again. I said, all right, let's try this. And it was just simple verbiage. And that simple verbiage was she would put 3 to 5 products up at the desk, because if I come in, I'm like, hey, here's this, here's this, here's this, and I walk them over the front desk, that shows that it's not that important. It shows that it's not that important because I need to get it down and I need to either put it in their hand or I need to put it on the front desk and say, hey, here's the 4 products I used on you today. If you had to get one product, I recommend this one. And I physically would take it and slide it forward. And it's all in the brain. It's like, because you throw 4 products at them, they're going to be just like, whoa, what do I do? But when I say, hey, if I had to pick one, I would pick this one. And what we've seen is they'll pick this one, and then it makes it easier to grab the next 2. Now, Erin, she's an all-star at this. So Erin, what you have any other tips on recommending retail, doing authentic? We don't want to throw something at them that they don't need, because we're playing the long game here, and that's not going to help the guests in the long game.
Yeah, no, I guess whenever you were talking, I was just kind of thinking about all the different things that we teach our team on. And I think the important thing is to create authenticity, you have to have consistency. And so what we coach our team to is that if they're wanting to level up and get a promotion in the company and they just are heavily focused on retail for only 3 months and then it dies down, that is not authentic, right? So if we recommend every once in a while, that's not authentic. If we are recommending at the very end of the service, just at checkout, that's not authentic, right? And so when it comes to creating authentic relationships and authentic recommendations, it's very much a part of your consultation conversation, reminding them at the shampoo bowl, all that looks like is, hey, this was the shampoo conditioner that I was going to recommend for you. Just wanted to let you know that's what I was using today. And then whenever they get back to the chair, you pull the products that you recommended. Hey, oh, by the way, this is the product that I was telling you about. You're going to love. It's strengthening, helps with strength and elasticity in the hair. And then when you get to the front desk, like Evan was saying, pull it off the shelves. Make sure you set it on the front desk. And I'm pointing over to our front desk because that's what I see right now. But that is how you make it authentic. And again, we're not selling ice to an Eskimo. They don't need that, right? But when we are thinking through like what products or how are we going to recommend, we're going to sell things that they can enjoy and that they can benefit from, right? So all I have to say is, hey, here's the products that I used on you today. If any of these you have questions about, please don't hesitate to give me a call, or do you have any questions? Or like Evan was saying, if you had to get one, this is the one that I would recommend for you. So that's just an easy, authentic process to go through. So it starts in the consultation, you follow through with it in the shampoo room, when you're blow drying, and then at the very end at the front desk. So
perfect. If you have any questions, because we're moving on from retail, if you have questions, put them in the comments. We would love to answer. I know retail for a lot of people is a headache. It seems like how do you motivate staff? We could probably do a 24-hour webinar on retail. Erin, let's talk about the second thing, how to boost retail, and walk through a little bit of
how to boost profit.
Yeah, what did I say? Boost retail?
Yeah, you know sounds like I thought we just did retail.
I've been saying boost retail for like the past week, and I've been saying it's not retail, it's profit. So how to boost profit.
Yes. So, all right, the second thing is to know your break even. So this was kind of a nuance for me, or a new thing for me. Not necessarily the break even point, but what I'm about to share with you on how we started thinking through our business. we almost a year ago, we had a massive change and shift in our company. And then we moved into our new facility and it was just chaos. And for me, I look through the lens of chaos as opportunities of growth. And I also look at it through the opportunity to learn from other people, let other people get inside my business and be like, okay, hey, I'm going to look at this from a 30,000 foot view. And that's what I needed. So through that conversation with another coach, I realized, oh my gosh, I need to think about my business differently. And so what we really started diving into and really coaching to in our company is coaching on the cost or the revenue per hour, right? And so essentially that's what we're coaching to, kind of on the kind of thinking forward. But then what that all comes back down to is, what is your break even per hour per stylist, right? So you take essentially your total open hours, and then you kind of work your way backwards after you put in all your operating expenses. And then we could figure out how to figure out how to elevate and scale your business from there based on an hourly, I guess, revenue viewpoint. So it's a completely different way to reimagine and think about the process of how to create profit in the business. But I think for me, that was really eye-opening because it really starts from the pricing, from each stylist.
Yeah, this was very eye-opening for us. And Christopher, my business partner, which y'all have seen on the Refined Network, he is very, very smart and a genius when it comes to this stuff. And so if you've registered for this event, you're most likely on the Refined Network webpage. If you scroll down, you see a discovery call. If you click that discovery call and fill out the form and pick a time, we will talk and get things prepared for you to know your break even. So it goes through every little detail of your business, of where you need to be and where you're operating at. And we do have coaching packages where we can do 3 months, 6 months, and 12 months of, hey, this is where you are. This is where you need to be in 1 year. And that's where it comes to you. We're not going to double your size in 1 year unless that's something you want to do. But it's like, hey, where do you want to be? And let's get a 1 year, a 3 year, and a 5 year plan. So we have different packages for that. So if you're interested in that, if you're watching on Facebook or YouTube or Instagram, you can just DM the Refined Network or email us at hello@therefinednetwork.com and just let us know that you want to get that discovery call. So you know where your company is, where you need to break even.
What I love about that, not to totally interject,
no, you're
but
good.
I'm definitely a numbers person. And I do creative stuff behind the chair and all of that, but I love spreadsheets. And I look back at that and I'm like, the way that Christopher has built this so that we can coach from it is really, really cool, because we start with the end in mind. We're like, okay, what do you want your revenue to be? What do you want your profit to be? And let's build it from there. Let's show you what it is that we're moving towards. What target are we going to hit? And it's really cool because you could customize it a little bit. We could say, okay, what if you moved everyone in your company up by 1 level, right? So if you moved everyone up a level and you didn't hire anybody, what would be your revenue potential? And then what if you hired 4 people this year at entry level and you moved everybody up? So it's really cool because you see the breakdown of what different things can do in your company. And that is where the motivation, the education for you as salon owners that's where that's at. Once you see what's possible by working with a coach and someone that has already built that out for you, they're 30,000 foot view, they're not in the weeds like we all are in our own companies. That's where the magic really happens. So, yeah.
Yeah. If you have a salon company and it's hard for people in your company to get promoted, we need to look at and maybe revisit. It was a few years ago. We were using something and I was like, we need to get people moving in our company, right? Because if people are moving through the level system and hitting their goals, they're going to make more money and the company's going to make more money. So when we talk about break-even analysis, it's even going to that of like what Aaron said, getting people promoted, seeing how much people you need to hire. Because a lot of times, and we did this for the first few years, is okay, yeah, we need to hire, but do you know how many people you need to hire today to hit your goals by the end of 2024?
Well, a lot of times we get stuck and we're like, oh, we need to hire 4 people. And then we hire 2 and we spend all this time and energy getting them trained. And then we just stop talking about hiring. And so then we wake up December 31st and we haven't hired the amount of people that we said we were going to hire. So this really, like, the accountability piece behind working with a coach or having a mentor, or whatever that looks like for you, is that they're going to hold you accountable. It's like, okay, all right, I haven't seen a hiring ad, or have you hired that third person yet? Or how's onboarding going with your new hires, or whatever. And that piece is really, really cool. So.
All right, let's jump into the next thing that probably salon owners are probably going to be like, okay, you can control this one. You can start this one this afternoon. And this one is keeping your cost low. I would say this is one of the biggest reasons of why salons can't get. So if you look at a plane, and to get the altitude you need to be at, you can't get here because your costs are so low. You have so much weight on board that your plane can't fly high enough. And so Erin, she's the queen of keeping costs low. It's like every beginning of every year, we're looking through our subscriptions. She's like, hey, what is X? And I'm like, oh my God, we hadn't used that in like 5 months. Are we still paying for that? She's like, yep. All the way to inventory. So Erin, let's talk about keeping costs low. I see new salons when they launch, and I see salons that's been doing it for years and years and years, and they can't get the profit because they're spending so much on their expenses.
Oh, 100%. So the keeping costs low portion, I want to preface this, and I want everybody's mind to kind of open up and be like, remember we talked about at the beginning, in order to profit, you have to actually do the work. It's your fault if you are the owner of the company, if your costs are too high. It's your fault. Let's just get that out of the way. And so, but the other piece of it is like, yes, we could budget and we could keep costs low and we could do all of these things. But if you only have $100, you can only save $100, right? So I don't think it is just keeping costs low. It is keeping costs low, but still shooting for the stars on your sales, still promoting so much that people now know who you are. That's the piece of it. That is this delicate like balance. So going to more of the cost side, right? I mean, we could definitely dive into sales and marketing and how to grow the sales and how to bring people in the doors. But when we talk about costs, we're really talking about budgeting. I love, and we are not sponsored whatsoever with Profit First. If you buy the book, we don't make any money on it. That's how much we love it. But the book Profit First, it literally changed my life. And I mean that with all the sincerity in the world. What it helped me do was it helped me to see our cost from a kind of 30,000 foot view. And it helped me to manage those costs a little bit better. He uses the analogy in the book where we've all had a toothpaste tube. And when we first get a brand new one, we like goop it on to the toothbrush. We're not even concerned with how much we're putting on our toothpaste or toothbrush. But then when it gets down to the very end, we somehow manage to get that last 1/8 of the tube of toothpaste to last us another 30 days. And so that's the same concept that Profit First has, is basically it forces you to manage your money in a specific way so that you are basically managing a smaller amount really, really well, if that makes sense. Now, I will say, whenever you are getting into money management and budgeting, it doesn't just happen. It's something that we look at daily, weekly, bi-monthly, monthly, yearly, everything under the sun. We look at what is our percentage of our total profit? What is our percentage of our total sales? So whenever we were prepping for this meeting, Evan was saying, hey, well, what are some takeaways? So what I would really say is to really, really begin with is look at your RTS and your retention on a daily basis. Daily basis. So how did you finish for the day? What was your RTS and what was your retention? Specifically, new guest retention. New guest retention is great. That is, if you've got 20 new guests coming in the door, that's awesome. But if you're not retaining any of them, that's not awesome, right? If you have, all this money in total service sales, but you're not supporting it at home and educating your stylist so they can educate their guests, that's not good either. Now, weekly basis, maybe what you're doing is you're looking at the salon as a whole. How does each employee stack up in kind of the lineup? Like, who needs more support? Who needs to be celebrated? Those kind of things. So we're going to look at our revenue per hour on a weekly basis. We're going to look at our RTS and how does everyone on the team kind of stack up and kind of figure out next steps from there. And then bi-monthly, so bi-monthly, we do payroll every other Friday. So anytime we're doing our payroll, that's the budget day. Everybody knows when I got my AirPods in for the whole morning, it's budget day. So what I'm doing there is I'm going in and saying, okay, we had this much in total sales, and these are my percentage allocations to each of my accounts. Let's make sure that we're on target. And if we're not, we make adjustments for the next 2 weeks. Monthly, I work with a great bookkeeper. I literally accept all of the transactions into QuickBooks. She goes and cleans everything up. And then she gives me like a whole list of recommendations, what I could do the next month moving forward. And then of course, yearly, that's when you want to like compare year to year and see how are you stacking up? Are you trending up and to the right? So those are some really, really great practical things. So I would definitely start with the daily and the weekly. And then maybe the only other thing I would suggest would be find yourself a really, really trusted bookkeeper, especially if you're at that point where you're still behind the chair and you don't quite understand the numbers quite yet. You need somebody in your corner teaching you and being willing to do that. So
how awesome would it be to have Erin sit down with you on a virtual call and walk you through her process? If that's something you would love to schedule time with her to walk through that, you can hit refine. You can type in refine on the comment section, or if you're watching this through the registration link, you can go down, click discovery call, and you can just click mine. We don't have one for Erin. It's just Evan and Christopher, but hit mine, put in the notes that you want to connect with Erin. She would love to meet with you. Also, another thing is we do have a partnership with Vish, and Vish has radically changed our industry. And you've heard of other brands as well. It's hitting the market, and a lot of people are like, what is going on? Like, does this work? Erin, talk a little bit about Vish and how it has saved us money.
Yes. So I'm a stylist behind the chair as well. So Vish is basically a color inventory tracking system. So every time I have a guest come in the salon, what I do is I pull up the iPad, I type in my number, pull up their account, I type in their formula, measure it on the scale. And what it does is it gets their formula correct to the gram every single time that they come in. So the next time I come in, I click the previous formula, all the things. What is really amazing about Vish is that it tracks it to the gram, and anything above what I budgeted for that particular service gets dropped into an extra product charge to the guest. Now, it's not a true parts and labor. So in our company, we have a certain dollar amount. So say we have $10 allocated for a $150 ticket, right? So if I spend, or if I measure out $15 of product, it's going to pass on that $5 extra of extra product to the guest. And that's really the biggest component of that, is that it gets the formula correct every time. We're not overcharging the guest. We're only charging the guest for what the product was used. That's kind of a big stumbling block for a lot of stylists is they don't know how to charge for that. So that kind of takes that out of the equation. And then it allows us to be really creative. It also is very, very, I guess, sustainable. So what it does is after I finish a color, I go and reweigh whatever was left in my bowl. And the next time I measure it, it's only going to measure out what I actually used. So it's going to say, okay, you measured 100 grams, but you've got 30 left over. So the next time they come in, it's only going to tell me to mix up 70. So that piece has really, really refined our color bar to a T. And then whenever we go and make our orders, we're only reordering what we use based on the spreadsheet that it says that we used. Does that kind of adequately explain it?
Yeah.
There's several out there, but we do have a partnership with Vish. We love Vish.
So if you're watching on the registration link, you can click down below to set up a demo with them today. Basically, when you click that, it lets them know that the Refined Network sent you, and they'll take great care of you. Again, if you have any questions, throw them into the comment section. We would love to discuss those. But keeping costs low is key. If the cost that you are spending in your company not driving sales, it's like, why are we doing this? So we go through ours. We definitely go through ours yearly. Erin, you probably go through it a lot more, but
yes,
when you see a subscription or something, you're like, hey, what is this? Are
Yeah.
we still using it? Was it needed for? And subscriptions, that's where they get you, is because it's just the ongoing. If it's a $10 charge, it's like sometimes you just kind of throw it to the side.
Well, for me, and I think we talked about this before the webinar started, but for me, I would rather refine or I guess lower the cost of things that don't matter, because in my mind, I'm like, I want to spend money on things that do matter, right? So we're going to a hair show in June, and I'm like, that's something I will invest in, right? I don't want to invest in, and I say invest loosely, but like I don't want to haphazardly spend money on random subscriptions that we're not using, because I'm like, I have a whole team to invest in. And if I'm going to invest in anything, it's going to be people, right? And so as a company, that's what we should be thinking through, is that like we need to invest in our people, because ultimately, if we develop our people, then they are going to care for our guests even better, especially if we're training and developing. So,
all right, let's talk about three things if you're not profitable, some things we need to look out. Erin, you spoke about this at the leaders retreat, but take this one away.
Yes, if you are not profitable, you're not disciplined with your money. And we always kind of get a little icked out when we're talking about money. But at the end of the day, when I think about money and being disciplined, I'm not just thinking about me and Evan. I'm thinking that I have to be disciplined, because this is where we have 16 other people coming for their livelihood here. And if I'm not disciplined with money, then I'm not doing a good service to them, if that makes sense. Right? I have to create a healthy business, because when we have a healthy business, people can thrive and they can grow in their business here. Right? So if you're not disciplined with money, then that is kind of an indicator we need to kind of get moving on that. How I'm disciplined with money, I spoke about this prior to, is I'm looking at it daily, weekly, bi-monthly, monthly, quarterly, semi-annually, yearly. We're looking at it all the time, and we're looking to see different ways of how to refine it. And really, I'm looking to find out what areas are we bleeding as a company, right? But you won't ever know that unless you're being disciplined with your money, right? So that would be
the next thing is, if you are not profitable, you need to look how much money is going out the door. This is usually what happens in small businesses. I can't think of the stats right off the top of my head, but I know 97% of small businesses do not make it to 10 years. 97%. Only 3% make it to 10 years. And a lot of it has to do with this. There's a lot of money coming in the front door, but the person that's managing the money, that's not disciplined, is going right out the back door. So yes, you did You did $2 million in sales, but you're still broke. So there's, with that, you need to sit down, you need to look at, you need to get with, your team, if they have subscriptions and things, be like, hey, one thing we got to do to increase profit is we need to look and see how much money's going out the door. Erin's going to go over the next thing is.
You need a coach. And obviously that's what we do. That's what Evan does, Christopher. So whether it's us or someone else, you just need a second set of eyes to look at your company differently. If you weren't on the webinar when I was talking about this, but last summer was a major shift in our company, and we needed another set of eyes to look at our company. I honestly, I don't know that I would have had the mental capacity or the mental bandwidth to do that had we not had that conversation with a coach. It was just eye-opening. It completely changed our business for the better. And it was all because I had a conversation and I paid to meet with a coach just to look at our business differently, right? I didn't need family to look at it. I didn't need Evan to look at it. I didn't need our team to look at it. I needed somebody who is completely unbiased that could really go in, take a deep dive, and speak truth over where we were as a company and how could I look at it differently to basically pivot, essentially. And so that was 100% pivotal, life-changing in our situation from last summer. But definitely get you a coach, get you a mentor, get you somebody that is going to speak truth with a 30,000-foot unbiased view.
Why we had this webinar is we want to serve. It didn't cost you a dime to be a part of this. And we want to serve you because we want salons profitable. We want you to serve your families better. Do I become a better husband? Does my wife become a better wife and dad and mom if we're profitable? Yes, because we're going to have less stress, right? So we want to become profitable. Now, here's something that I'll get on, and it might not be most popular thing, but there's all these business awards, which I think business awards are kind of funny because business is not a competition when it comes like for a game or whatnot. So as I'm talking, we have another guest about to walk in. Erin, if you want to go get them.
Okay, cool.
And so this is what it's all about when you're going live. So, we read the sign. It had our times. Anyway, so business awards. In a game of baseball, there are rules, there's regulations, there's innings. This is from Simon Sinek. It's a finite game. Business is an infinite game. The goal of business is to last longer than our lives. That is the goal. Me personally, I don't care about winning awards. I want this company to outlive me. I want it to outlive my children. The goal to do that is to be profitable. It's again, we're not having talked about culture, but it's about serving people well, where people drive by in your community and they go, that place is making a difference. And you can make a bigger difference when you have a profitable company. Erin's going to end. You're going to talk to us about the Leaders Retreat because we just finished up our Leaders Retreat last month. We have one in September and one in October in Wisconsin. September's here in Greenville, South Carolina. So Erin, just give us like a 30,000-foot view. And if you want to be a part of the Leaders Retreat, you can, if you're on the registration link, you can scroll down to Leaders Retreat and reserve your spot. Or you can comment Leaders Retreat in the chat and we'll reach out to you.
Well, I don't really know where to start with our Salon Leader Retreat. It was just absolutely incredible. It was, I guess I'll just set it up. We had 7 or 8 salons that each had 1 or 2 people that had came with them. And it was just incredible to really just connect with other like-minded salon owners and to understand that we're all going through the same thing. And even though Evan and I were leading that charge of the whole weekend, and just total shout out to Jordan and Brenna, because anytime we get a chance to shout out our team, we want to, but they made the back end of that whole retreat work. So thank you guys for that. But the incredible event, it just was networking. It was learning. It was tears. It was laughter. It was understanding that we are not alone in this whole salon owner thing, that we are all doing the hard things together. And that was so inspiring. It was just, it was incredible.
I'm not much of a hype man, because I'm the type of person, I see something or we do something and I'm like, all right, that can get better. Like, I'm always a person that's like, that can get better. That can get better. Sometimes I got to stop and celebrate the wins, but I'm like, it can get better. The Leaders Retreat, I've been a part of events in the salon industry. It's the best thing I've ever been a part of. Aaron coming in and teaching on more in depth on financials and how to be more profitable. Then we talk about leadership. We talk about culture. We had a guest speaker come in. He talked about the mindset of a successful person. It was incredible.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, it's going to fill up in September and October. And I really don't have to sell it. I don't like being salesy. I'm kidding. But I'm telling you, it's the best thing you will do this year. I guarantee it.
It truly is. I mean, we went to a conference in January and it was not an industry conference. And that was very, very inspiring and motivating. But there was nothing like being around other salon owners doing what we're doing. Truly. I mean, truly. There were salon owners that are just brand spanking new. But then there were other salon owners that were still showing up to this, even after being in years and years of salon ownership, that maybe they had a lot more experience. But it was just really cool to see all the diversity in this in the retreat, as far as the combined, I guess, number of years that people have been open, all the way from 1 year all the way up to 20 years and more. So it was really, really, really cool to get that group of people together. Oh gosh, it was amazing. I can't say enough great things about it. And I'm like, I want to do one this summer.
I know. She was like, can we do one like in the summer? I'm like, oh, let's pump the brakes. We got one in September. Hey, thank you guys for joining this webinar live. You are making a difference because you're showing up. Most likely you're not working today. Even if you are working, like, kudos to you. You took an hour out of your time. So if you're joining us on YouTube, Facebook, through the registration link, I just want to say thank you. Aaron, thank you for being a part of this. You brought tons and tons of value to our viewers and to the Refine Network. So if you guys need anything, you can follow us on Instagram at the Refine Network, same thing on TikTok, or you can email us at hello@therefinenetwork.com, and we'll see you next time.